story book. Echoes Philosophy. Well, let's see. Do we have a volunteer to read? Um, yeah, about the law of cause and effect and how small causes bring the results.
Sure, I could read it.
Okay, thank you, Rick.
Where would you like to start? 515?
Actually, it's a long chapter, so yeah, but we read like the first half of 1-5. So after the what is it? The English nursery rhyme, Mother Goose. So
Okay,
after that, it says it's a song about how a small result.
okay. It is a song about how a small result from a small cause causes the next result, which in turn causes another result, and so on. And this chain of events leads to unexpected result in the end. That is exactly what is happening in life. In 1979, a small water leak, the amount equivalent to a cup of water, at the 3 Mile Island nuclear power plant in the United States triggered a major accident in which nuclear fuel was cooked dry and a large amount of radioactive material was released. The first leak caused the cooling water to shut off, and the emergency water supply system started up instead. But the water did not flow to the correct place because the valve in the middle of the system had been left closed for days. In addition, the important valve that releases abnormal pressure had failed, and even the instrument that was supposed to alert workers to the failure did not work. Since there are hundreds of valves in a nuclear power plant, it is not uncommon for some of them to be left in the wrong open closed state or not work properly. An anomaly of such magnitude would not cause such a problem. However, this time a series of problems led to the devastating result. It was never bad luck. There is a famous rule of thumb for occupational accidents, Heinrich's law. The law states that before one major disaster, 29 minor accidents with only a scratch were repeated because there were 300 near miss experiences without injury. According to this law, if you have near miss experiences, one out of every 330 times, it will lead to a serious accident. In fact, 90% of the major accidents that occur in companies can be traced back to the innocent action of a single person. A plant owned by a large company handled flammable materials. Several times a year, there were fires, but they were able to handle the accidents with their own fire trucks on the premises. However, when one of the employees smoked a cigarette at the entrance to the factory, as usual, a fire left by the cigarette but quickly spread, and even dispatched the fire trucks were unable to extinguish the flame. The plant manager disappeared. A number of talented employees resigned in shock, and the company as a whole incurred a loss of 1.5 billion yen in the first half of the year. The fire would not have happened if they had identified the cause of the repeated blazes and eradicated near miss hazardous behaviors such as smoking cigarettes instead of providing fire trucks. If we repeatedly make small mistakes, we have to be thorough on crisis management with the expectation that a major accident will occur someday. This law of failure is, on the flip side, also a law of success. If we continue to make steady efforts, small favorable conditions can come together to create great success. The Devil's Sacrifice, 1974, the debut film by Tobe Hooper, the master horror director, is considered the most terrifying film ever made. The film tells the story of a killer wearing a mask made of skin of a human face who chases young men with an electric saw, but it uses very little blood, 60 milliliters, with no direct depiction of victims being cut up by a chainsaw. This in turn stirs the viewer's imagination and heightens the sense of dread. Moreover, due to a lack of budget, regular film could not be used, and the image quality was coarse, which gave the film a realistic feel, as if it were recorded of a true incident. The film was a big hit because it was rumored to be modeled on the real-life serial killer Ed Gein. Since it is mentioned at the beginning of the film that it was a tragedy that took place in 1973. But the director of the film learned of Gein's name from a review article after the film's release. The horror movie, written with the big lie, caused unexpected sensation. These factors combined to create a unique work of art, and the original film was permanently preserved at the Museum of Modern Art in New York. Of course, such success does not often happen. However, if we are not discouraged by failure and continue to take on challenges, the door to fortune is open to all. Even those who are considered lucky in the world may have actually achieved their glory after countless failures. Professor Hiroshi Amano.
Rick, yeah, thank you very much. We can break it down. Can you explain to us, yeah, briefly also what you read? Thank you.
Sure. So the point is made that several small incidents add up to a large incident in both the positive direction and the negative direction. The first example, of course, is in the negative direction when we're talking about 3 Mile Island or the factory that burned down. There were tiny little incidents that didn't cause any major damage, but were never addressed. The 3 Mile Island incident, it's suggested here, had so many possibilities for failure that it was something was bound to happen. There were so many valves that could go wrong. They could be in the wrong place. So many things that had to be monitored. That tremendous care has to be taken, and when something goes awry, it can go undetected because it's one of very many things, and it's only tiny, so it could go by unnoticed. But those things add up to a major calamity. The same thing with the factory that burned down. They never addressed the cause of the small incidents, the cause being the behavior of smoking a cigarette near flammable materials. They were just able to put out the small fires, but never address the cause of the issue, the cause of the effects that were these small fires. And in time, it built up and became a great calamity. But on the positive side, the same thing exists. The author puts forth that small events that are put across with diligent efforts build upon one another. And then eventually there is a great success that happens, like in the case of this film that kind of just by chance ended up in the Museum of Modern Art, but in reality, it wasn't by chance. It was the accumulation of all these tiny little positive instances that pushed that film to success. So my take on it is that we have to mind the little things, the little incidents, because we miss them because they're so small, but they count because they add up like drops of water in a bucket. Eventually the bucket fills. Hopefully it will fill with positive efforts and bring us success.
Okay, wonderful message. Thank you so much, Rick, for always volunteering for us to read and explain it. Indeed, we cannot neglect even small or minor things that are happening, positive or negative directions, so we can utilize them to our benefit. Good job, everyone. And if anyone is able to help us with the RSVP on the meetups, even if you don't come to the meetup, if you place your RSVP, because now pandemic is kind of coming to an end, kind of more people are going to in-person events. So if we want to keep the online community going, we appreciate if it's possible for you guys to RSVP so that it encourages other people to RSVP too. Okay, if you don't know what I'm talking about, ask me. Okay, very good. Thank you very much and have a restful evening, everyone. See you next time. Bye.